Let's get going. So the workbook is going to focus on three things: the circle audit, boundary decision, and strategic proximity plan. It's a fancy word, but it's very simple. Now, we're going to go through three topics. Topic number one is familiar is not always aligned. Topic number two, who has access to your thinking? Topic number three, boundaries and strategic proximity. So let's go. Topic number one, familiar is not always aligned. Here's the big idea. The environment that helped you thrive in the past up until yesterday may not help you build. Okay, founders, we assume that every time we're not making progress, we have a fill in the blanks problem, discipline problem, habits problem, work harder problem. Mr. Christian Dodge, I need to work harder. Lack of goals, could be lack of planning, motivation problem, fill in the blanks. Okay, all these can be true. I'm not saying they're not. Perhaps all answers above. However, it really depends on your case. However, there's one thing that people rarely talk about and could be easily the problem. And I would go as far as saying it could be the root cause. You have an environment problem. If you stop thinking, if you stop to think about it, just 5 seconds, give 5 seconds of your attention to this, you could arrive at the following conclusion. My lack of discipline, lack of time, lack of good habits, lack of hard work, everything listed above could be derived from my environment, not the other way around. So here's the conundrum we as founders, we found ourselves into. We are trying to become one founder while remaining surrounded by the people and therefore conversations, habits, expectations, and inputs that form the founder we are trying to outgrow. That's a trap. Do you guys know the acronym GIGO? GIGO means garbage in, garbage out. And you know what? If you surround yourself with these people, the environment's going to beat you up until you capitulate. I know it can be harsh, and I'm going to ruffle some feathers today, but I'm just a messenger. You know, I don't know if you guys know Dan Pena, the $1 trillion man, Mexican guy, 81, 82 years old. He said, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. But here's what's interesting. Paul, not Paul Chupa, the Apostle Paul wrote in 1 Corinthians 15, do not be deceived. Bad company ruins good morals. So it's way up. When I woke up, it was already written there. And it's going to take a pair of scissors to get this thing out of the Bible. There's two ways, basically, that this topic can rustle some feathers. Reason number one, I don't want to judge. Judging is wrong. I don't want to be judged. That's this one of the reasons why you would be so upset with today's topic. And the second one is familiarity feels safe, even if it destroys your future. Some people, and I've met a bunch of people, actually, that prefer familiarity than future, a promising future. But let me tell you this. Familiarity breeds failure. Why? 3 reasons. Places you know keep you stuck in the past, in past perspectives. People you know keep you stuck in past performances. And people who know you keep you stuck in past practices. I'm going to say that again. People you know keep you stuck in past perspectives. People you know, places you know first. Places you know keeps you stuck in past perspectives. People you know keep you stuck in past performances. And people who know you keep you stuck in past practices. They know which buttons to push. So you were pulled into this vortex of sameness, being the person you've always been, doing the things you've always done, having the things you've always had. Be to have. And here's how you break from it. Check this out. First and foremost, note this. You know yourself better than anyone else, but you don't know yourself as well as you can be known. because you know your limitations, but you do not know your leverage. Guess who knows your leverage? Yep. And secondly, your familiarity circle only sees the old you. It doesn't matter. It could be Roger, it could be Christopher, Christian, Chi, Eddie, Rick. Your familiarity circle only sees the old you. Guess who knows the new you? El jefe, el capo, the boss. So if you base your future on the current assessment and opinions of familiarity or family and old friends, you are destined for mediocrity. That's the risk. You're going to flatline your entire life. And I mean, flatline, the heart flatline, you're dead. So here's the deal. You got to leave the land of familiarity, like Abraham. Why? Because what's meant for you lies on the other side of the person you have yet to become. And you won't become that person if you stay in the land of familiarity. Here's a warning. After this Purpose Lab, if you make the decision, I will stay in the land of familiarity because it is comfortable, then you are going to need willpower. Tons of it. Because environment will beat you up. It's like, I was watching Godfather, the third part. There's this scene where Michael Corleone is in the kitchen and is with his hitman and Connie Corleone. And they were talking about the mafia again. And he says, just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in. And he makes this. And then he goes, heart attack. The scene goes. Now, kind of a harsh start to a Purpose Lab. Let me decompress this thing. Take 2 steps back. The same environment that helped you thrive may not be able to help you build the next season. Some environments were necessary for a previous version of you. That's why I'm not condemning anyone. I'm not saying this is evil. But an environment can be helpful in one season and limiting on another season. I'm talking about seasons here. You know what is one of the worst things about familiarity? It is familiar. And you know what's the problem? You get numbed. You stop noticing what it is doing to you because it becomes familiar. Now, whatever surrounds you disciples you and shapes you, whether you like it or not. What is not so obvious, but I'm going to make it very, very clear now, is that it goes beyond what is physical. Because when I talk about environment, people think about physical stuff. No, I'm talking about everything. I'm including your calendar, which impacts your relationship to time. I'm talking about the conversations in your environment, your social media feeds, whatever you read, the podcasts you listen, the interviews you listen, the news media, if you're still watching news media, the group chats on your WhatsApp, Telegram, or the people you call before making a decision or after making a decision. And number 2, every environment, no exception, has a normal. And what I mean by normal is the baseline. Every environment has a baseline. So in one environment, let's say taking risks is normal. On the other environment, we have Eddie here. If you go into the military, well, taking risks is normal. That's it. Now, if you go into a monastery, probably not. But then, so taking risks is normal. You go to another environment and avoiding every single risk is normal. So you have environments where people discuss possibilities and future and vision. And there's another environment where people discuss excuses. Last example, in one environment, you have people praying and taking action. And in another environment, you have people just praying, not doing anything, and waiting for the second coming. So, why does the environment matter so much? Why is this a topic on a Purpose Lab? Because it has a direct impact on purpose, and I'm going to explain why. Here's the cadence. Here's the sequence. Purpose has assignments. Your assignment is not asking just for you to produce something. Your assignment is asking you to become someone who can do that something, who can accomplish that goal. What is the purpose of a goal? It's to see who you have to become to achieve the goal. It's not even the goal itself. So it's a becoming process. Becoming requires formation. Environment forms you. Boom, there you go. There's the sequence. Purpose, assignment, formation, becoming, and environment forms you. Now, a successful founder, your successful founder, is being formed through repeated decisions and repeated execution. That's it. I'm always going back to that example. January, let's take Maduro out. Those guys rehearsed the same operation over and over and over again to exhaustion. They had to do it like blindfolded. That's it. So your environment's either participating on that formation or sabotaging it. No gray areas. Okay. That doesn't mean you have to live inside an echo chamber. Let me address the echo chamber. Mr. Benson, brother, how are you? So that doesn't mean you have to live inside an echo chamber. An echo chamber won't sharpen you. Absolutely not. But there's a fine line, guys and girls. There's a fine line, a layer, a thin ice between two environments. And you have to be wise to choose. You have to be wise to discern. One environment tells you the truth. The other is using wisdom as a disguise for fear. There's a thin line. So in one hand, you have an environment which is asking hard questions and challenging you, and the other is just punishing you because you're growing. Let's talk about, let's say, DEI type of stuff, woke type of stuff. No meritocracy anymore. It's going to punish you. It's going to require you to stay small because it is uncomfortable for everyone because you're succeeding. You have to be really careful. There's environments who's going to confront your excuses, which is good. It's going to make you know enough of the excuses. Let's do it. Let's GSD. Let's get stuff done. Okay. The former group will form you. The latter will mediocre you, if that's a verb. That's it. So here's the first question I want each one of you to consider. And here's where I need you to be really honest with yourself. And I'm not kidding. Where, you have to ask yourself, where am I depending on willpower to overcome an environment that keeps pulling me backwards? That's an important question. You have to identify, where am I depending on willpower? It's not time to fix, but it's time to become aware and honest about it. You recognize first, then you change. Because you cannot be chasing a ghost. So you have to be really honest. Now, Gerald, boom, spotlight. Where have you seen environment either strengthen or sabotaging a founder?
Can I ask you a question?
Oh, boom.
Are you saying there's two environments, internal and external?
No, I'm
Like
talking
spiritual
today.
and then outside, like people. There's two.
Yeah.
Two environments. Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted. That's what I thought I was hearing, but I just wanted to make sure.
The answer is yes.
What do they say? Birds of a feather flock together.
Yeah, true.
It's really easy to receive the fake news from whatever bubble you're in. So I would say Silicon Valley startups, it's full of fake news. Chase the unicorn, chase investors, blah, 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 blah. It's good for VCs, but it's really horrible for founders. It's really, and if you're in that bubble, that's what you believe and that's what you repeat that comes out of your mouth. There's all kinds of different bubbles. We see it in all the different faith circles and the faith camps and all of that. And people believe like what they've been told, so they just parrot what they've been told.
Yep.
And if you've been told growing up, this is the way life is, you need a 9 to 5, that's the environment you're in, you'll end up believing that. Okay. Yep. You'll end up believing that. So there's the external things. If you're around people that are really negative, guess what? You're probably going to end up pretty negative.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Um, internally, internally, you got to go sit and go, okay, what shapes my thinking
Hmm.
spiritually, internally? And so, what I would say, when the scriptures talk about, you've preached, you've taught about like true identity before. We went
Yep.
through all of that. Um, it's interesting because as you were talking, I looked up um, First John chapter 2. It says, I'm writing these things to you about those who are trying to lead you astray, the fake news. I'm not talking about like literal news, I'm just talking about fake information. Okay.
Okay.
As for you, the anointing you receive from him, anointing, I didn't know I had anointing, remains in you, and you do not need anyone to teach you, but as his anointing teaches you about all things, and as that anointing is real, not counterfeit, as it has taught you, remain in him. It's if you want to change your inside, um, Christian and I were getting ready to do a podcast where we're saying, okay, what the heck is a faith-driven founder?
Yep.
Like, what does that really mean? Okay, pretty words, but what does it really mean? I don't think it means anything because it's like, well, I have faith in this. I have faith in this. There's no agreement that we all signed up for to be a faith-driven founder. But what I could tell you is, if you don't have a biblical worldview, if you're not in the Word for yourself, if you're just listening to what the environment's been telling you, good or bad, you will forfeit so much in life. And and if the inside environment's not right, you'll put up with almost anything on the outside. And so I don't have all this unpacked. It's going to be another podcast. But God's been showing me four things I'll share with you. It changes your environment inside. The covenant, the everlasting covenant God made with Abraham, you got to study it because it stands unrevoked. It's
Mm.
yours. So you better understand what that is. The blessing spoken to Abraham, I will bless you and all people on earth will be blessed through you. It's now ours as believers. So you better understand that. Don't go to some pastor and get their flavor of what that means. Read it for yourself.
Fake flavor.
Yeah, don't go to some bubble. Go to the Holy Spirit.
Okay.
The inheritance given to Abraham through a promise is yours. And Galatians says that if you don't understand what it is, you live like a slave. And then the promises, the promises that we have through Abraham, the promises God made, they're ours. So, and they're ours just through faith and obedience. And so what happens is, you want to change your environment inside spiritually, find out what's yours, and you'll live from your identity as an heir. I'm an heir, inheritance heir,
Yep.
um, not as somebody still trying to qualify.
Hmm.
And then you'll learn how that shapes your daily life. Talk about environment. Confidence will replace striving. Obedience will become the natural expression of trust. Patience and endurance, like Abraham had, will become normal. And it will totally change the way you approach calling assignment that God has given you.
Hmm.
And you'll start from rest, not from lack. You'll expect God to protect and prosper the works of your hands. You'll measure success by faithfulness, not by visible results alone. And you'll live as somebody who's already the head and not the tail. This is how you change your environment.
Yep.
You get into the word, you get into the word yourself. You quit just repeating what everybody else has told you. You almost have to surrender everything and say, Lord, start me from scratch, renew my thinking. TDR, think, do, results. Once the inside's changed, let me tell you what happens.
Hmm.
Remember, what was it you taught a few weeks ago on you gotta number, list your friends or something and get rid of a bunch of them. What was that? I forgot how you put it.
It was
But
one of the purpose slide. That was what Jeff just said. No, I'm not going to do this exercise.
Yeah, you had to rank your, but the thing is, birds of a feather flock together. So a lot of times what you have to do is you have to really protect your inner circle. So
Yeah.
like with me, I have an inner circle, and outside of my inner circle, I could be around anybody. But with inner circle, I'm really picky about who I want to hang out with. I don't want to hang out with negative people. I don't want to hang out with people who are not the I can type. They're more of the I can't type. Can't stand them. I don't want them in my inner circle. As a person, I like them. I just
Yep.
don't want them in my inner circle. So you got to radically change inside environment. I think first, Christian,
Yeah.
and then because once you reset internal environment, you won't want to live beneath the standards of a king. And and the way God sees us, and
Mm-hmm.
we'll see ourselves different. So that's my 2 cents.
Mm-hmm.
You look at, I've been at this. I'm in my 42nd year. I'm constantly working on this and learning this, and just some of the stuff that I kind of repeated. This is my notes because I'm still trying to understand. I'm trying to get it inside me.
Mm-hmm.
Just trying to get it inside me. But this is part of becoming the leader, becoming the founder to carry the assignment of future CanaGlobal.
Yeah.
And that is changing how I think, surrounding my, I tell our venture partners, you're not all going to be with me at the end. You're not, I can tell you. Just because you're on the bus doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
We have to grow together.
Yeah.
Because if you don't grow, then you become the weak link, the
Yep.
liability. And, Eddie could probably tell you that from a military perspective.
Yep.
If you don't learn what everybody else is supposed to learn, and Jeff has been in like a lot of tactical training. He was sharing that with us. And, if you have one person who doesn't get what you're doing, doesn't get the play
Hmm.
in a 360 environment, somebody's going to die.
Yep.
Somebody's going to die.
True.
That's what I would say. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah. So now that you said, remember the other, it's funny. You said you talked about the other purpose lab I did where I was tagging people, keep, dump, pivot. And Jeff was like, I don't know if I can tag. It's going to get worse, Jeff. That's why
You need a
I
bowel
said,
movement. You got to have
yeah,
bowel
no,
movement.
it's going to get worse today because now it's 4 tags. I'm going to get to this is 4 labels. Jeff, you're going to hate it. No, you're going to love it. I'm kidding. So this is where we start auditing the voices and the relationships and the inputs forming you. This is where we get practical. We got 2 levels of practice today. So the first one is this. This is where we get spicy and controversial. I love it. Here's why auditing who has access to your thinking is important. Because access to your thinking is one of the most valuable forms of access you can give another person. Now we're talking about, I'm not talking about like address, office phone, your mobile phone. I'm talking about people you listen to and talk to every day and people who talk to you and listen to you every day. That's what I'm talking about. Because after enough repetition, here's what happens if you're in the wrong environment. Their fear becomes your fear. Their limitations become your limitation. Their assumptions become your assumption because they have access to your thinking. Think about it. Their definition of success becomes yours. It is dangerous. Now, here's the worst aspect of that. You know whose voice gets shoved aside when that starts happening? When a bunch of people have access to your thinking, God's get shoved aside. That's it. You don't listen to him anymore. He doesn't have access to your thinking because now you're thinking, you're delivering your thinking to everyone except him. Now, this is what Proverbs 4:23 tells us. Above all else, guard your heart, For everything you do flows from it. So become responsible for what you allow to shape your inner life. Gerald was talking about inner. That's it. We're talking about everything here. Now, what does that mean? Not everyone who loves you is qualified to advise you. Not everyone who is sincere has wisdom for your assignment. Not everyone who has known you for a long, long, long time should have influence over where you were going next. That's it. I said it. Let's go to the fun part. Jeff, are you ready? Are you ready? We're going to judge people. In the we're going to do the circle audit. And you have to identify 3 voices, 3, with the greatest influence over your decision. I know the first one is your wife. You don't need to tell me. So 3 people. Media sources, authors, teachers, influencers, mentors, business partners. List 3 top people. Then we're going to tag them. You're going to evaluate each voice using 4 words. I'm going to paste it in the chat. I haven't pasted anything in the chat so far, and I think I am. This is not right. This is not right. Here are the tags. We're going to judge. Get 3 voices and then evaluate. Strengthens, confuses, limits, challenges. So let's define those carefully. A voice that strengthens you. It's simple. This type of voice reminds you of what is true, not what your ego wants to hear. That's a good friendship to have. Because when friends bypass your ego and they just tell you the truth because they love you, this is a friend for life. Now, a voice that strengthens you helps you remember what God said about you, about your life, when circumstances become difficult. It is a voice that brings wisdom, courage, clarity, not more fog. It is a voice that helps you become more faithful, more focused. It is a voice that helps you become sharper and more willing to act. Now, what is a voice that confuses you? It leaves you less clear. That's it. That's it. Before the conversation, you had more clarity than after the conversation. It just confuses you. That doesn't mean the person is evil. Of course, there's 3 types of people in the Bible. It's like the wise, the foolish, and the evil ones. Like, we have evil people in the world, and they do evil stuff. That could be just a foolish person. That doesn't mean that the person talking to you and leaving you with less clarity had bad intentions. It could be true, but it could also be that the person doesn't know what the F they're talking about. But they want to help. Jeff, I want to help it. Christopher, I want to help it, but I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. And then you leave the conversation and say, Christian, I am totally lost now. You didn't help me. Or, and me and Gerald, we're seeing this. The problem is that you're seeking too many voices because you avoid making a decision. That's it. You're paralyzed and you're getting the second opinion, third opinion, fourth opinion, fifth, sixth, and you don't act. You don't ship it. 1, 2, 3, many, brothers. That's it. It's too many. Now, what is a voice that limits you? That's easy. It's anyone, let's say, here's an easy way to know when a voice is limiting you. That's the voice that still refers to the person you used to be. So let's say someone, Christian, dodge. A friend, always reminding how Christian used to be. It's limiting you. That's it. Just, I didn't say dump him or dump her. I'm just saying, label. If the person has influence over you, label. It's limiting. Or anyone that reminds you of your past failures. Every time Gerald comes and there's a dinner in his house, and there's a certain person that says, Gerald, do you remember when you're down to $9? So you have to bring this up every single time. You see? Or realistic people. You know, it didn't work for them, therefore it's not going to work for you. Run. What is a voice that challenges you? Think about like like a coach, like an athlete coach. Or better, it occurred to me, think about the Bible. Every time I open the Bible, I'm being challenged. Every single time. It doesn't matter the topic. It could be money, it could be relationships, it could be wisdom, it could be business, it could be life, it could be health, it could be anything. I'm being challenged 24/7, 365. Every time I open, there's a challenge. It challenges me. It challenged my thinking every time. So challenging voices see something in us that we're not seeing or we are avoiding. So they challenge us, which is good because we're growing. Anyway, a challenging voice will steer you towards growth, transcending obstacles. That's it. It's going to challenge your assumptions. Let's say you're in a Thursday check-in with us, me and Gerald, and you come up with something and you say, hey, I don't know, Benson, your assumption is wrong. Gerald says, no, according to my experience, your assumption is wrong. You're being challenged, or your habits or your excuses or lack of execution. Like say, I don't know, Roger, you need to execute better this. That's a challenge. It's like a coach, you know. The problem is a challenging voice makes us uncomfortable, but we must put a seatbelt because I had experiences with challenging voices. There is a type, and there's a thin ice layer between, and we got to be wise to discern. I had some experiences with challenging voices that they just want to bash me into submission and oblivion. That's it. They sit at my table and they just challenge me in the negative way just to see me capitulate. I've seen that over and over and over and over again. You have to be wise. So I'm not saying you should remove every person who makes you feel uncomfortable. What I'm saying is that a limiting voice tells you that you cannot become, and is going to challenge you, but to the side of not becoming. You see? It's not challenging you to the side of becoming. A challenging voice will ask, a true challenging voice, a good challenging voice asks whether you are willing to do what becoming requires. That's the difference. That's the difference. So you ask yourself two questions. Who do you speak when your business is not working? Or when your personal life is not working? Who do you call? Ghostbusters. That's it. I'm kidding. Who are you going to call? You pick up the phone and, oh, my business is not working. Who's that person? Now, what type of voice is this? Is that voice strengthening you, confusing you, limiting you, or challenging you? That's it. You got to do the work. And then our interior work. What happens inside me after repeated exposure to this particular voice? So every time Christian has a problem, Ghostbusters. Label the voice. Now, what happens inside of you, Christian? Do you become more clear or foggier after the conversation? More or less faithful? More or less courageous or responsible or anxious? That's it. You get the point. Now, Gerald, how you distinguish between someone who's challenging you to become a better person or challenging you just to, bash you into total oblivion? How do you make that distinction?
Well, first, Chi has the answer in the chat. She says, I just called God, which is what I was thinking. So, but I think that I have thoughts in my head, and then I have voices, like people that speak to me. So those like the two different conversations. I have an internal and then external. But anything, Christian, that's contrary to the word of God, I reject.
It's over.
It's over.
Yeah.
So now you have to know what the word says. So if you're never in the word, you're not going to know what it says. But any thoughts that come into my head that are contrary to the word of God, I immediately, how I cut off the thoughts with my words. Because if you have negative thoughts in your head, start declaring what God says over you, because you cannot speak and have those thoughts at the same time. Your brain will not work that way. See, that's why you start declaring things. That's the first thing.
Yes.
Um, when God's showing me something, most of the time with me, God's showing me something, and then somebody from my inner circle that I trust will talk about it. And they might not even talk about it like in a way like pointed at me, but they'll say something and I'll go, gosh, God was just telling me the same thing. God was just telling me. So that's what happens. I don't listen to, there's players and spectators. I don't listen to spectators. So, players score points, spectators just make a lot of noise. So I ignore the spectator talk. I don't really care about the spectator talk. I'm really careful about the environment, like what I look on online. It's really like you watch the news, you go down. You know, I'll tell you, I'll
You're
tell
like,
you this. I'll tell you this, Christine, you'll laugh at this. The LinkedIn algorithm changed.
yes.
So it used to be that I could just go post my wisdom. I get all these followers. I got 40,000 followers, and it would drive all this. Now all of a sudden,
No.
LinkedIn saying, "Now that ain't good enough. You got to go have conversations."
Yeah.
Christian, oh my gosh! This morning, I'm going through LinkedIn, and it's so cringe. Like
Oh,
every post is so. I don't think the whole thing's like that. I just think the ones that are coming to me in my feed are so cringe, and it's bringing out like Mean Jerry, like the spec.
bring the worst in you.
I'm like, oh my god, like this is it's so irritating because most of it is spectator voice. It's spectator voice. It's from people that have never scored points. So I think that to summarize, anything that's contrary to the Word of God, I get rid of it. And I think you told me this sometime a long time ago, Christian. I don't have
When?
to respond to everything I disagree with.
Oh no. No, no.
Right?
You're gonna
You
be too
just
busy.
like I don't even watch it. If I see like an interview with somebody from the left, like there's some crazy, purple-haired weirdo, I'm not going to watch it. It'll
No,
just
yeah,
make me
just
mad
don't
watching
watch
it.
it. Why would you watch
Why
it?
would
Yeah.
you watch it?
Why
Yeah,
would you
it's
watch
just
it?
so
Just get
it's just
angry.
you got to really protect. Really got to protect.
Yes.
You got to really protect the environment.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And talking about environment, I want to get to the third topic because now we're going to build the environment. We're going to start building the environment. And there are two things that will require for you to build a true good environment for you as a founder. It will require two things. Number one, boundaries. And number two, greater proximity. So at a certain point, I know there's people who are not wired to set boundaries. They're afraid to set boundaries because they're going to be disliked or whatever. Oh, they're going to set boundaries against me. I wouldn't like that. That's okay. But you have to set boundaries. And the other movement is greater proximity. So some people you just keep outside the fence, and then others you get closer to. Now, both are stewardship, both, and we are called to be stewards. Now, boundary. Boundary is simply a decision about who and what will have access to something God has entrusted to you and who won't. Time, confidence, ideas, vision, your business, your inner circle, you decide who will have access and who won't. That's it. Boundaries can sound strict and harsh. Well, kind of are. But the absence of boundaries can damage everything. Now, imagine if we were talking about homes. No walls. Your home is just out there. There's no fence, no gates, no nothing. No boundaries. Hey, you can come. That's not good, right? So the absence of boundaries can damage everything. It will destroy everything. So what do I mean about boundaries? You can love someone deeply, without having to discuss every single business idea you have or every single business strategy. You love that person, but you're not going to discuss business with them. You can honor your parents without absorbing all the fear that they have. I mean, my father, until this day, he doesn't know what I do. He's still thinking I'm a doctor. He's stuck in 2003. And I'm like, he doesn't know. I'm not going to discuss because the guy is so paranoid. Like everything, it's like I'm an entrepreneur. What? No, you should work for the government. You should. Oh my God, it's just killing me. Here's a job opportunity. I'm like, no, again, no, please, no. So yeah, I honor him, but I cannot. Every time I get in touch with him, I kind of all these fears. Like he has fears about my future. I understand, but imagine if I get to absorb all this thing. You can care about someone deeply without allowing them to pull you into that chaos. And it happens all the time. You open a chat and the person gets, here's the chaos, here's the tornado, and then you get sucked into this stuff. No, I care about you, but you're not going to pull me into your chaos. So there are 3 practical boundaries. And here are they: conversation boundaries, access boundaries, and decision boundaries. It's all in the playbook. Don't worry. The first is conversation boundaries. That's easy. It will determine which subjects you will discuss with a particular person. That's it. There may be people you love, but are not the people who you're going to, talk about your vision. Maybe a wonderful family member and you get Thanksgiving, but you don't discuss business with them. That's it. So it's just a conversation boundary. The second is access boundary. Access boundary is vital. What is access boundary? Exposure. It determines how often and how long someone or something has access to you. That's exposure. So let's say some people you meet once a month, some people once a year. But if you meet every single day, it's not going to work. You're going to get crazy. You're going to turn into Hulk. You're going to start getting green and going to flip the table. It's not going to work. Let's say social media, for example, because Gerald talked about social media. Maybe you do not need to leave every platform. They're useful. I mean, say, for example, 4 years ago, happy birthday, Jeff Kaufman. It was his birthday, August 1st, guys. 50 years old, sir. That's a milestone. So I added him on Facebook. Well, it's Jeff's birthday. Okay, happy birthday, sir. That's it. So it's useful. We connect. It used to be for connection. But perhaps you need to stop beginning, ending your day inside of social media. It's like, you go to you're already in bed and you start to, what? Go into fist fights in the comments because what? You don't do that. So you may need to mute a group chat here and there. You may need to create a specific hours for emails. You get the point. The third decision boundary is the decision boundary. Here's where it gets interesting. Check this out. The decision boundaries will clarify 3 things. Who gets a vote? Who gets a voice? And who receives an update? Let me unpack this thing. This is really good. You guys are going to love it. These are 3 levels of access. Some people should help you to make decisions. They get a vote. You're going to call someone or sit down. Hey, help me make this decision. They get a vote. Some people should be heard, but they do not make decisions. They don't get a vote. They get a voice. And the third level is people should, be informed about your decisions. They just receive an update. They don't get a vote. They don't get a voice, but they get an update. And the rest is just, they don't get a vote, they don't get a voice, and don't get an update. That's it. They're out. They don't get anything. Now, if you try to mix these 3, you're cooked. Now, what is a strategic proximity? That's fancy. Yeah, that's fancy. Your next season might require you to operate to It might require you proximity to people who are already operating at a level that season requires. That's it. That's proximity. So, of course, you got to know where you're going. I'm not saying you should be friends with influencers, rich people. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that you have to intentionally get closer to people, communities, environments that possess character, the wisdom, the faith, the knowledge, and the operating experience your assignment requires. I'm going to say that again. What I'm saying is you have to intentionally get closer to people, communities, and environments that possess the character, the wisdom, the faith, the knowledge, and the operating experience your assignment requires now. Let's take Jesus as an example. He loved the crowds. He taught in synagogues, right? But he selected 12 apostles, not 5,000 apostles. That's intentional. And within the 12, remember the transfiguration, only 3 were present. There's a reason for everything. So, as a founder, you should ask yourself, who is already showing, demonstrating the kind of faithfulness I need for my next season? Who has built what I'm learning to build? Who understands the customer I'm called to serve? Who causes me to raise, that's good. Who causes me to raise my standard of execution? Let's say you have to get to the other level and you're like, no, man, I'm lame. I need to get, I need to get near people that it's going to take me to another level of execution. That's it. So strategic proximity. Oh, here's a warning. By the way, that doesn't mean you have to become friends. It doesn't require personal friendship. This is where people get in trouble. The strategic proximity can be created through community, a structured community, not, every man for himself. Working sessions like we have on Thursday, 12:30 for Start Founders, and we're going to open next Tuesday, our first for Faith and Purpose. So people who are in the playbook, they have access. That's working session. Or a peer group, or a weekly meeting with someone who holds you accountable. You can have proximity. Really, really, you don't have to get fancy. The name is fancy, but the execution doesn't need to be fancy. Now, you have to be intentional because you want to create this proximity with people and environments where your new normal, your new baseline is already happening. So let's say Mr. Christopher, you have a new baseline. You're going to have to find people who are already operating at the new, but you're not there yet. You're here. Your baseline is here, but those people are operating here. You got to get near them. That's it. Always up, always up. The level of faithfulness, it could be the level of risk taking. You're risk averse. No, I need to take risks. That's it. It could be the level of execution, like I said. It could be the level of BS free, woke free. Like you don't want to listen, the bubbles. You just want to get to the truth. Let's say I open the Bible. I'm tired of pastors telling me what that means. And I'm going to get to the group that just speaks what is there. Here's the analogy. You're a plant. You need to grow. So you need the best environment for that to happen. That's all there is. The best soil, sun exposure, water, nutrition. That's it. So here's the final exercise. I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to pass it to Gerald. Here's the final exercise. It's a challenge for this week. You have to identify 3 things. 1 boundary, 1 proximity, and 1 environmental change. 1 boundary you need to establish. Remember, I don't want to set boundaries. Well, the absence of boundaries is going to screw you up. So 1 boundary. 1 proximity move. Your next season might require you to get closer to people who are already operating. And 1 environmental change. Think you're a plant. What is the best environment for me? Is this the one you're in right now? Or do you have better environments for you that you want? Like, look for 1 environmental change. Now, here's one thing. Most people don't get it, but you guys are going to get it. Your environment is already voting on your future. The question is whether you will begin casting intentional votes of your own. That's it. Enough of my rant. Gerald, what kind of boundaries, what kind of proximity? The boundaries, you already talked about the boundaries. What kind of proximity changes you had to make for your next season? What kind of proximity do you have to have, or are you already making the changes in terms of proximity for your next season?
You know, my Christian, my natural, and I think we have this in common. My natural instinct is to be a caveman. It's to stay in my cave.
Look,
it's to meet nobody new. I like whoever's in the cave. Maybe once every 10 years you invite somebody into the cave, but that's it. And for all the years that I ran a venture studio before CanaGlobal, I had this small portfolio of companies, and my whole world was that for business. I didn't want to meet new people, and it was just that. I was very, very happy. And then I had the family and all that kind of stuff. And I'm very selective there too, right?
Yep.
But then when God gave me the assignment for CanaGlobal, it all had to change. It all had to change. I had to change boundaries. I had to change proximity. I had to change environment, all those different things. And honestly, it's things I'm getting comfortable with all of those, because, all of a sudden, our goals went from, I've got, 15 little companies that this is my whole world. And all of a sudden I've got this assignment to plant 1 billion seeds in people. So all of a sudden you need all these new things. But I would tell you that, this is, when I've always been really good on LinkedIn. Okay, not everybody's good on LinkedIn, but I've always been really good on LinkedIn. Lots of followers, driving tons of traffic, and I would say most of my fortune has come in the last 5-10 years has come from, well, 5 years for sure, from LinkedIn. I just understand it better than most. Okay, but then everything changed, and all of a sudden, the pain in which I'm still figuring out, new partnerships, like God started saying, I want you to create new proximity to people, to other organizations that usually I don't even want to talk to.
Oh, the caveman. Talk about proximity for
Oh, I like the
cavemen.
cave, but God's going, hey, Gideon. I don't know that I was like Gideon. Come out of the cave, And so I'm not a networker. Can't stand networking events. Can't stand any of that stuff, but we're talking about like working with other organizations, like-minded, building partnerships, all
Yep.
kinds of different things. It's not something that I'm
Proximity.
naturally inclined to want to do.
No.
I'm just not. I'm just not. And it's but I realize proximity has to change, and there's probably people um, from those proximity changes that will enter my inner circle that are doing things. It's funny because I won't say who, but since I opened my mind to
Mm.
partnerships, I've all of a sudden on LinkedIn, there's people like heads of organizations. There's two that I could think of, that are all of a sudden, they're posting in such a way I could tell they want to be friends, or they want to get to know me, or blah 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 blah. And there's something to learn from this. There's something to learn. So it's interesting when God shuts off one thing over here, there's something else that opens up over here.
Mm.
And I mean, think about it. What was my biggest complaint last year? It was like, Christian, we got to get rid of a lot of this traffic, because we got too many people coming to CanaGlobal. All they want is investment. They want to take my time. I don't want to meet with them.
Yeah, the
Let's
chart does
let's
the
get rid of
chart
them.
now.
How do we
Yeah, the
get rid of
chart
them?
now, the graph now does this, like the stock market, the traffic is just, it's a no money. Customer first, capital second, and then the chart does this. Boom.
So what it just, it's like, so I love today's topic because there's new boundaries. There are new boundaries, like my rule for boundaries. If you ever watch Curb Your Enthusiasm, Larry David has all these rules. I have Gerald Duran has rules. They have to change. They have to expand. The proximity thing, I'm like, okay, I'm uncomfortable with this, but I'm gonna have to do it. I'm gonna have to do it because, but I mean, I'm telling you guys, and I don't regret I love it when I'm meeting new people. Actually, I just don't like the idea of it. I don't know. Is anybody else like me, or are you all
No,
networkers and all this?
I'm
But
like
I'm like a
you.
caveman. I'm
I
like a
am a
caveman.
caveman. Yeah, God had to tell me, like, you have to talk to people. I'm like, no, I want to, I want to build things. Like I was praying that, no, God, that can't be you. Can't talk to. It was like years ago. I'm like, no, I have to talk to people.
And then you got all these salespeople. That's a problem. That you got all these people that don't want to get to know you. They just want to sell you something. And
God,
it's like the number of DMs I have. I'm just like, oh my God, I know I have
no,
to
it doesn't
go through
help.
these, but they're just like, you know, all these people that just want to sell you something. They want your money, and it's like, oh my God.
No,
But, but, it's, we have to, God brings different people into our lives, and we got to be open to that. And we got to learn from them, and inner circles change. And so, no, this is so good. Are you sure you didn't just write this for me today? This thing, this purpose thing? Are
no,
you?
no,
Is
I
this an
didn't want to convict
intervention?
it.
Is that what
No,
this is? An
I wrote
intervention?
it thinking about Jeff because it doesn't want to tag
Well,
anyone.
he needs it. Yeah, he needs it. I can
Well,
see he
so
needs it.
it's talking about Jeff. I know we're top of the hour, Jeff. I'm sorry. It's 7:03. But I want to ask you, do you have like one boundary or one proximity move for the new phase of JIT Pro? You have this company going on, I have this product going on. So it's a new phase, it's a new season, it's a new assignment. Do you have any one of these things that you want to talk about? A boundary or proximity move or environment change? Which one like do you have like in mind right now?
I've been trying to think about that as I've been talking. I'm actually in a really good space right now, and I've got people around me that are, you know, leading me, and I am in the Word a lot, and I go to the Word, and I think I've got to do some deeper thought on this, and I got got to really figure that out because I think probably a lot of what you just said, Gerald. It's like I have a tendency to like want to hole up here in my office, just
Yeah.
work, put my head down and work, and the thought of getting out and meeting people is a little bit kind of I'd rather not do that. I just want the clients to come to me. So that may not happen. So that could be one of them right there. But I years ago, I became very discerning about my time and about my my company,
Right.
and who I kept. And I ran a fairly large construction business, so I was kind of like I always felt like as a general contractor, you always kind of feel like you're out there by yourself, anyways. And so I wasn't going to people looking for advice. I was kind of but I do have some people in my life. There's a couple of people that, in the last year I've kind of had like you said, Rick, I kind of wrote off. I was just like, nope,
Mm.
you're done. I don't need that negativity in my life. But it's interesting because God has a tendency to as believers and as Christians, we're called to love. And I was was convicted a few weeks ago about this situation, and I actually this guy hasn't talked to me. We had a discussion about a year ago, and he has not talked to me since. He avoids me with like the plague. And finally, I caught him a couple weeks ago, and I just went up to him and said, "Greg," I said, hey, you've been on my heart. How can I pray for you? And it opened up an interesting door. But I liked what you said about boundaries, because it's not just because that door opens up again doesn't mean that he's back in my life, being
Yeah.
there. But so. But yeah, you've given me a lot to think about, and there's nothing that I disagree with today at all. I love it.
Convicted. Oh my God, all of us,
Yeah.
we're all busted. Guys, I know I
Mhm.
went a little bit long. Thanks, Jeff, for your input. I know I went a little bit long, so I'm sorry, but it is great to be here and to have these conversations every week.
Yep.
And next week is it's episode 4. It's going to be fire again. It's Netflix, Canaflix, Purpose Flix. And thank you very much, guys. If anyone has any questions, now it's time. If it's not, it's a goodbye for now. And thank you very much for being here. Does anyone have any question?
No, this is great. I welcome you guys to come into my cave.
Let's
twice
go. Let's go to Gerald's cave.
Paul says, you're on one. Paul says his 6 screens. You've come in through.
Yeah. It's that's the proximity. That's a proximity. It's just on screen. Don't use my bathroom.
Yeah, don't defile my bathroom.
No, don't use my bathroom. It's just a screen. So, guys, thank you very much. It was good to see you, Christopher. Long time no see. Good to see you, sir.
I had to move, so now I'm back. I had a question.
Oh, go ahead.
On the friend audit, I was actually, I think that was a bit ago now. You had for this presentation, you had the 4 voices: strengthens, confuses, limits, challenges. Yes. And you started listing before that the 4 other ones from before when you mentioned it, when you were doing the friend audit or brought up the concept. It was keep, dump,
or pivot.
Or pivot.
Keep, pivot, or dump. Yes. That wasn't the other purpose slide. It was more like a personal stuff. Like, And then, but for you to keep, pivot, or dump, you have to score people. That's where Jeff came in. I'm not going to give scores to people. Like, Jeff, calm down. You're saved. You're not going to lose your salvation. So you have to rank people. If they're 7 or up, if they're 7 and up, you keep them. If you are 7 or below, you pivot. If they are 7 or below, you dump. But this is where, oh my God, you're going to use colors like dump. Yeah, because you want to get there. There's a baseline. There's a new normal you want to get to. It could be health. It doesn't need to be business. It could be health.
Right.
It could be relationships. It could be money. It could be anything. And you're like, if the person's like eating pizza every day, let's go to McDonald's, and you just want to get fit, like, guy, that's a dump. My body is like a 2. I need to pivot. This person is like a 1. I need to dump them. That's it. It's just, out of love and respect and care for people, but you need to dump them.
Okay, I have a second question.
Go ahead.
I don't have to answer it, but I fell off the bus a little bit because I had to move to Hawaii. But you are still doing Numify or just
update? Yes. No, Numify is now part of CanaGlobal.
That I saw.
But
I know you have boundaries, so you're probably not going to give it all away. And you and
no. What boundaries? No.
Gerald are in the cave.
No. I'm going to give access. I'm going to give access to the Numify course to anyone who's part of the Numify course. So you're going to receive an email with the new access. So the old platform is closed, but the new platform is on, and everyone who has access is going to have access to the same course, same thing.
But you're just leaving that brand, because that was one of the things from a brand.
No, I'm not leaving the brand. No, the brand is there.
Okay.
The brand is new. It's called Numify. I said, no. Okay. It's not Foodify. It's not. No, it's to Numify. It's old self, new you. But now we are focusing on faith-driven founders and founder formation together with the faith playbook. So Numify became the purpose playbook. Right. And now Gerald and I, we're finishing the faith playbook. And it's going to be founder formation. It's going to be like a huge mega pack together with startup playbook. So it's even better now because Numify now has faith playbook and startup playbook. So it's now this entire family of products just to make you succeed. That's it. But it's to Numify, sir.
Okay, I'll catch up. But I just wanted to ask it specifically short from a brand perspective, because I have to say, when that came up on LinkedIn, and I'm not a big believer in LinkedIn for a while now, I was like, who the heck is this guy? And damn, nailed it.
Thank you.
I love the brand. I love the concept.
Thank you.
Nothing against CanaGlobal, Gerald. I'm also.
That's why we acquired it.
That's
it wasn't because it was bad. It was because it was good.
Yeah.
Well, and also because Christian should get to Arizona and probably get a little darker skin tone. He's so white.
You see, I have to get tanned.
Get to the desert, brother. Get to the desert.
I'm going to get to the desert. Like, I love scorpions and snakes. That's it. But don't tell my wife and my daughter. Don't tell them, because they don't want to go there. But that's it. Thank you so much, Christopher. It's good to have you back. Guys, thank you very much. It's great to have you every Wednesday, and see you next Wednesday. I'm signing off.